Okay. Good evening. This is a conference meeting of the Municipal Council of the City of Orange Township held at City Hall, 29 North Day Street, Orange, New Jersey, on Tuesday, January 6th at 7:08 p.m. Roll call. Councilman Coley.
Present.
Councilwoman Easton is absent. Councilwoman Hilbert.
Present.
Councilman Montague III is absent. Councilman Ross is absent. Councilwoman Summers Johnson.
Here.
Council President Wooten. Also present is Tricia Scipio, Business Administrator Chris Hartwig, Derek Brown, Fire Chief, Niall Clements, CFO, Garcia R. Montella, City Attorney, Marlon G. Towns, Legislative Research Officer. We'll now recognize a moment of silence, and we would like to dedicate this moment to
Councilwoman Easton.
Thank you. Can we please all silence our phones? Please be apprised, anyone wishing to discuss agenda or general items shall sign their name on the comment sign-up sheet and will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to interact with council. The Sunshine Law, the requirements of NJSA 10:4-9 et se Sunshine Law has been met. A notice of this meeting was sent to the Star Ledger and published in the record transcript on Thursday, July 10th, 2025, posted on the bulletin board in City Hall and the council's website, the city's website, and filed in the office of the city clerk. At this time, we'll have matters of discussion. We'll have Essex County update by Reginald Bledsoe, our liaison.
Good evening, council members.
Good evening.
And Happy New Year. It's great to see you. Excuse my absence for the last meeting. We had holiday celebration, so I could not physically be here. But as always, I send greetings on behalf of Essex County, on behalf of our county executive, Joe DiVincenzo. Just a few couple announcements. We have a job fair that will be held at the South Mountain Recreation Center at 560 Northford Avenue in West Orange, New Jersey. There's a number of seasonal positions at the Essex County Turtleback Zoo, and that will be held, give me 1 second, on January 31st from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Mount Building, February 21st from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Burson's Learning Center, and March 7th from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. again at the Burson Center, and that's located in West Orange, 560 Northfield Avenue. Additionally, Essex County will be hosting its annual Project Homeless Connect Wednesday, January 28th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Essex County College in the gymnasium. And lastly, but not least, as you know, in the fall or in the winter, the late winter, Essex County hosts its annual deer management program, and that will be held starting next Tuesday, and each week between Tuesday and Thursday at the South Mountain Reservation. So starting Tuesday, January 13th, January 20th, January 27th, February 3rd, February 10th. Those are the dates for the South Mountain Reservation. And then additionally at the Hilltop Reservation, it will be Thursdays, January 8th, January 15th, January 22nd, January 29th, February 5th, and February 12th, and last but not least, February 19th. And that's all I have for updates. And at this time, through your chair, Madam President, I'll take questions from any of the council members.
Okay. Any questions? Concerns? I guess not. Happy New Year to
Happy
you.
New Year.
Thank
Happy
you.
New Year. Thank you, sir. Now we will hear from the Orange Board of Education and the Orange Education Foundation.
Hi, good evening. I'm Terry Russo, a board member of the Orange Education Foundation, and many of our board members are here tonight. Faith Alcantara, who was going to represent the Orange Board of Education, is on her way, but she asked me to start just in case. Ms. Alcantara gave all of the council members the Radium Girls book by Kate Moore, and I hope you've had a chance to read it. The Orange Education Foundation, in conjunction with the Orange Board of Education, applied for and received a $10,000 grant to create a memorial here in Orange to the Radium Girls. There are 3 towns in the United States that where the women were affected by the radium that they were using to create watch dials and the mechanics within the cockpit of the airplanes in World War I. And Orange is the only one of the 3 that doesn't have a memorial to those women. And 5 of the women, if you read the book, 5 of the women brought a lawsuit against the company and won. And from that lawsuit, OSHA and the Department of Labor for the United States were formed. So they, while the atrocities were horrible, these 5 women that we are going to honor did something for the benefit of everybody to come after them regarding labor law and safe working conditions. So when we applied for the grant, Mayor Warren and Councilwoman Eastman were partnered with us so that we can use the College Park, which is on the corner of High and Alden Street, to create the memorial. We will have pavers for each one of the 5 women that Ms. Cunningham, who works here in the district at the high school, was instrumental in providing the information for that. And each one of the pavers tribute stones will have a QR code so that the kids that are the students that are using the playground or the families that are using the playground and all of the soccer teams that are not just from kids from Orange, but the traveling teams that come in to go there will have the opportunity to learn about the wonderful contribution that these 5 women made. Now, we had a letter from the mayor supporting this, which went far with the application process. We had to show that we would have $5,000, and they did the $5,000 matching grant. And I'd like to let you know some of the things. There are 3 people. There's a panel that judge all of the grants, and so I'd like to read to you some of the accolades that we got from the grant. One of the lines in the application that we wrote said that the project description, the reviewer said the project description was concise and strong, and the line, quote, "Some sites are quiet and unassuming," is powerful. The project connects with other historical sites, and the audience description shows potential rain. The timeline is realistic with concrete location determination. We hope to have the kickoff in March during Women in History Month. We have invited the author of the book Radium Girls to attend. We've invited Senator Cory Booker because he did legislation that was passed honoring the Radium Girls in the United States Senate, signed off on by the president at the time. Our goals include civic pride and honoring women's contributions, evaluations with the QR code, hits and reflections, and field trip tracking. So New Jersey history is part of the 4th grade student learning standards in New Jersey. And so 4th graders will be taking a walking trip over to learn about them. Part of what we had to have was an ADA plan and an emergency plan for the site. And Elvin Padilla, who's an employee of the town, I don't remember how long it was, but we didn't give him a lot of turnaround time, and he received accolades in the review for the plan with how concise it was and how appropriate it was. And a lot of the other applicants hadn't even included theirs. We can't thank him enough for the work that he did. The project connects to local and national history. It aligns with the Orange Board of Education and the Orange Education Foundation goals and missions and strategic plans. And it creatively honors the Radium Girls while educated the public. And in conclusion, the Orange Education Foundation the reviewers said, presents a thoughtful and creative project with strong community and educational impact. The memorial concept paired with the QR technology is innovative, enhancing engagement and access. Marketing and outreach are thorough and well integrated. Accessibility measures are strong, ensuring inclusivity. Budget is realistic and effectively covers all project needs. Overall, the high-impact initiative preserving an important historical narrative and engaging the public in meaningful ways. Thank you for your time. I really hope you read the book. There's also, you can go on YouTube and watch the documentary about the women and the concentration here in Orange. And the fact that Orange was able to take the brownfields and make it into something for public use is really commendable. So, do you have any questions?
Thank you so much. Any questions, anyone? Or statements, comments?
Council President,
Councilwoman Summers
I
Johnson.
just like the part with the QR code. I think that's going to be very effective for the youth because everything they do is QR code. So just being in the park and, you taking walking trips there. I remember taking walking trips to the Thomas Edison when I was a little girl and, just having history within your reach. So thank you for that. That's awesome.
Nothing to say.
Anyone?
Because I know Dr. Russo covered it all, but I brought my book just as a reminder
Yes.
to say thank you for reading. Thank you. This is going to be monumental for everyone that's in the community, and they finally getting their just served. So thank you so much for engaging with us and partnering with us and making it happen.
Thank y'all
Yep,
so
thank you.
much.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Legislation. The resolutions and ordinance to be presented at tonight's meeting are listed on the attached regular meeting agenda. If any council member wishes to discuss any resolution or ordinance, it may be discussed at this time.
Anyone?
Okay, so I just want to mention for all council members, if you look, you have a packet in front of you. I'll have the CFO, for the record, tell you what the amendments are for Resolution 3-2026, 9- and 9-2026. You want to do that now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Good evening. Happy New Year, everyone. The sixth whereas clause for Resolution 3-2026 was amended to include language that mentions the temporary budget. Excuse me, I'm sorry. It's the last whereas clause on Resolution 3-2026. It was amended to mention language referring to the temporary budget and that this contract is contingent upon being included in the temporary budget and the adopted budget.
Yes.
The amendment for Resolution 9-2026, which is the temporary budget appropriation resolution, the last page, we're including the parking utility budget. The business administrator and I worked on a prospective budget for 2026, and then based off the 35% that's allowable, we are inserting and appropriating 1/3 of the expected parking utility budget. So that was added to the resolution. Those are all the amendments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for the CFO? Okay, now I also have, in your packets, you have walk-ons. I'll read them into the record later, but you have all the walk-ons. Do you want me to read those now? Sure. Okay. I won't read the title, but Resolution 29-2026 is a resolution honoring the life, the life and legacy and contributions of Grace Edith Wright. Resolution 30. This is the one that we're going to walk on. That's the one we're going to. Okay, so Resolution 30-2026 walk on. We are going to walk it on but postpone it because we need to have 2/3 votes for that one. Okay? Resolution 31-2026, a resolution declaring an emergency and ratifying a contract for traffic signal maintenance and repairs between the City of Orange Township and Gen Electric Incorporated, 631 Morris Avenue, Springfield, New Jersey, 07081, in the amount not to exceed $34,003.99. Resolution 32-2026 WO is a resolution ratifying and authorizing the award of a contract to IPS Group Incorporated, 7737 Kenmore Court, San Diego, California, 92121, to purchase parking meters, parts, materials, and supplies. The Omanima Partners Cooperative in an amount not to exceed $98,338. Resolution 33-2026 WO, a resolution authorizing a non-fair and open professional service agreement with CP Professional Services to provide engineering services to the City of Orange Township Planning Board and Zoning Board of Adjustment for a period beginning January 1, 2026 and continuing through December 31, 2026, with all fees paid exclusively through escrowed funds. And the last one is Resolution 34-2026 WO, a resolution amending Resolution 113-2025, authorizing a non-fair and open professional services agreement with Friend & Wenzel LLC to provide legal services to the City of Orange Township Planning Board and for a period beginning January 1, 2025 and continuing through December 31, 2025 in an amount not to exceed $7,500, with additional fees paid separately from escrow accounts that will be solely funded by developers pertaining to their specific projects, to include a certification of availability of funds by the City of Orange Township Chief Financial Officer. So those are the walk-ons, okay? Give me a second, let me pack that back up.
Council President Dee and council members, the administration would like to postpone ordinance 74, 2025 to the meeting to be held on January 20th.
Okay. Anyone else?
What was that number again?
74-2025.
Okay. Oh, I see.
It's ordinance, yes. That's it? All right, yes, ma'am. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, Summers Johnson.
Second, Coley.
Motion to adjourn by Councilwoman Summers Johnson, second by Councilman Coley. All those in favor vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. We are stand adjourned at 7:26 p.m. Okay. This is the regular meeting of the Municipal Council of the City of Orange Township held at City Hall, 29 North Day Street, Orange, New Jersey, on Tuesday, January 6, following the conference meeting. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Councilwoman Gilbert, lead us, please.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Councilman Coley?
Present.
Councilwoman Easton is absent. Councilwoman Hilbert?
Present.
Councilman Montague III is absent. Councilman Ross is absent. Councilwoman Summers Johnson?
Present.
Council President Wooten?
Here.
Also present is Tricia Scipio, Business Administrator Chris Hartwig, Fire Chief Derek Brown, CFO Niall Clements, Police Chief Brian Mooney, Gracia R. Martella, City Attorney, Legislative Research Officer Marlon G. Towns. For the record, Council President, I would like to note that Police Chief Mooney arrived during the conference meeting at 7:13 p.m. The requirements of NJSA 10:4-9 et se Sunshine Law has been met. A notice of this meeting was sent to the Star-Ledger and published in the record transcript on Thursday, July 10th, 2025, posted on the bulletin board in City Hall, the council's website, the city's website, and filed in the office of the city clerk. Approval of meeting minutes. December 16th, 2025, conference and regular meeting minutes. Council members Hilbert and Montague III were absent and should abstain. Is there a motion?
Motion Coley.
Second, Summers Johnson.
Motion by Councilman Coley, second by Councilwoman Summers Johnson. On the motion, roll call. Councilman Coley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Easton is absent. Councilwoman Hilbert,
Abstain?
Councilman Montague is absent. Councilman Ross is absent. Councilwoman Summers Johnson,
Yes.
and Council President Wooten.
Yes.
That's 3 yeas, 1 abstain. This passes. Reports. Department monthly revenue collections. The Health Department in November 25 collected $6,982. The Community Service Department collected $7,082 in November. OPA reports. In December 2025, there were 115 requested, 33 complete, and 82 remaining. There were no communications and petitions. Citizens' comments on general issues and agenda items. Members of the public wishing to address the council may do so during this portion of the meeting. Speakers must sign their name on the comments sign-up sheet and approach the microphone when called upon. To allow maximum public involvement, each speaker is permitted 1 3-minute period to interact with the council and must provide his or her name and street address prior to beginning any remarks. Visual aids are not permitted. Speakers are reminded to be courteous and mindful of other individuals. Each person has the right to speak on any subject but is responsible for abuse of that right. The city bears no liability for any comments made by the public and maintains discretion to remove any person engaging in obscene or disruptive conduct. The council will consider all comments and questions and will respond if and when appropriate, which may or may not be during this meeting.
Brent Engel.
Good evening. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
In December 30th of 2024, Resolution 551-2024, repaving Haywood Avenue between Scotland Road and Irvington Terrace. It says here that the city received $614,706. On October 7th, 2025, at a council meeting, I asked about an update on this, and a council person basically said that, well, when you see the signs go up about no parking, then you'll know when it's going to be done. However, on October 30th of that year, last year, okay, this project went out to bid. So an engineering firm created drawings, created specifications, and they put it out to bid. Bids were received on December 7th, okay? I see that the city council wishes to basically deny this. Now I'm curious because the lowest bid was $599,293.23. That's actually below what the NJDOT gave us. So I'm curious as to why this is being turned down. Because if you do, then you have to go back to the engineering company. They have to redo the drawings. They have to redo the specifications. It has to be rebid again. This is not making any sense to me, why this would happen. So, you know, these are things that, you know, when the public comes and asks about, you know, the status of a project, you know, it would be nice to actually have, maybe not an answer that day, because I can understand, nobody may have it. However, you know, having something in the future might be a good idea. So, I mean, I know I'm not here every single meeting. However, you know, I do miss meetings that there are things of importance to me, but you know, there are reasons why I don't. So, I mean, I'm just curious as to why it appears as though a actual legitimate bid on a project is being denied, and now it's being, you know, the city's looking to quash all of the bids and redo the whole thing again. Doesn't make any sense to me. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
So, my understanding, and I'll verify this and speak to you offline, but my understanding is that when you subtract the engineering and consulting fees that were paid in order to design the project, and the amount of money that you had left over was less than what the bids came in at, even the lowest bid. So it's a percentage of the overall cost of the project. I don't remember what the percentage was, but the bids came in, even the lowest bid, over what was left for the actual construction of the project. So we have to go back, we have to figure out where in the bid process we can cut, or perhaps get some additional funds from DOT, which is something that we're trying to do.
Anything else? Okay. Gloria Bozeman.
Gloria Bozeman, 345 Alcott Street. Happy New Year
Happy
to all
New
of
Year.
you. People ask me all the time why do I continue to come to the podium, because they see this as an effort in futility, and I say back to them something I borrowed from you: I'm going to keep coming. If and when I get tired, I will then stop. But right now, it is my feeling as a member of the community that we have this privilege and we should exercise that right, and I have an obligation in order to be an informed participant in the life of the community to come and express my concerns and hopefully at some point have them answered. So I'm going to my standard questions. To what benefit to the quality of life for all of the new developments? And I have heard that the monies that we've received, since they must make I guess they have to make a contribution to community quality of life, is in a trust fund. I'm interested in knowing, where is the trust fund, what's the trust fund for, and where are the allocations with regard to that money, and why it was assigned to a trust fund. I have seen many resolutions on this particular agenda related to attorneys. Now, I'm going to assume that's a standard attorney retainment fee. I'm not quite sure, but I do plan to look at those firms that have been proposed to see whether or not they should cause me any concern. I asked the last time I was here, I see that there's an appointment to another member of a board of one of the boards that's, I guess, standard in the city of Orange, and I have asked, how do you get those appointments, and what are the qualifications for those appointments? And not just for this particular board appointment, but for all of the board appointments. I think we should have an opportunity to know. 9/2026 talks about temporary budget, and I hope that the CFO will help me with this at some particular point in time, because I see a distinction from the separation of the temporary proposed budget and the budget, the actual budget of 2025. I'm also interested in finding out about the $700 plus, that $700,000 plus with regard to health allocations, which I'm still having some difficulty understanding. I assume it was reimbursements, but I don't know to what agency, and I don't know how that agency was selected or utilized. 2026. I appreciate that it is a standard for the leader to recognize the contributions of the committee that they serve, but where is the accountability in that? And the collaboration, I hope, would also extend to those of us who are members of the community and come and anticipate responses. Especially, I know I'm running out of time, since I was informed at the last city council meeting that this is a city council meeting, and therefore city council people do not have any restriction with regard to the amount of time that they are able to speak. Then I would say, don't set the clock and give the illusion that there is a restriction on the amount of time that the city council has to speak. And if it is unrestricted, then basically that then really emphasizes my point that the city people who come to this podium should have some of that respect as well, that those 3 minutes force us to go quickly and not to go in detail, and so it seems as if we don't have all of the information available to us, but that's not our fault.
Thank you.
Made it.
Mr. CFO, you want?
Yes, ma'am. Dr. Bozeman, so in regards to your question with the community benefits, so before we received any checks, the city council approved a resolution to establish a dedication by rider, which is to establish a trust fund, and it was sent to Trenton. DCA had to approve DCA had to approve the dedication by rider of that trust fund, because in the resolution, it mentions that the money for community benefits would be set aside and then appropriated at a later purpose set by council or administration. So that's why the dedication by a rider was set up for that purpose, to set them aside until they're appropriated for the purpose that the council and the administration chooses. In regards to the temporary budget, so the law states, and it just changed, that you're allowed to appropriate, it was 26.25% of the prior year's budget within the first 30 days of the calendar year to account for appropriations that may happen before your calendar year budget is introduced and adopted. It was recently increased to 35%. So now you'll see in the second whereas clause, it states what the total appropriations was for the current fund, which is the operating budget and our water sewer utility. And then in the following whereas clause, it says what that percentage is at 35%. And then within this resolution, we don't exceed that 35% for the current fund or for the water utility. And we're amending this. I mentioned earlier that there's an inclusion of the new parking utility. So we have a prospective budget, and then that is 35% of that proposed budget for the calendar year 2026. Thank you.
Mr. CFO, could you speak to why certain funds are put into trust accounts, like the recreation trust accounts, those type things?
Yes,
Thank you.
ma'am. So all trust funds have to be approved by DCA, and they all have a specific purpose. So we have multiple trust funds, an affordable housing trust fund, recreation trust funds, community benefit trust fund, but it's to ensure that the money is deposited into a certain account, and you can see all of the activity for how the money comes out. So all of the activity within that trust fund has to be approved by the state, and once it's approved by the state, we establish the trust fund, and we ensure that all the receipts are properly documented in that trust fund, and that all of the appropriations and all the expenses come out of the appropriate trust fund. So it's set aside so that it's not used for any specific purpose other than what the state approved it for, or what the council approved it for. So it starts here, it goes to the state, and then once it's approved by the state, we establish it in our books as a separate trust fund.
Thank you. Now,
It's in the audit. You can find it in the audit. It should be
Thank
PDF searchable.
thank you, sir. Kelly Ann Joseph.
Pleasant good afternoon, everyone,
Good
Good
evening.
afternoon.
and a happy new year.
To you too.
Happy New Year.
I'm just following up on Kellyanne, 660 Nassau Street,
There you go.
Orange, New Jersey. Following up on our last meeting about the brook on 660 Nassau Street that goes through, if we can have any updates on that. I know I'm not gonna get something tonight, and there was one mention that that's an offline conversation. I just wanted to keep it on your radar so that we can have a follow-up on that. The second issue is 433 Lincoln Avenue. I'm a pastor, by the way.
Speaking to the microphone,
Sorry.
please. Thank you.
I'm a pastor, so things come from the community to my attention, and one of which is 433 Lincoln Avenue. Between last year, there have been approximately 3 deaths in that building. We've called City Hall. We've tried to get an inspection in the building. There are several issues in that building, including mold and other issues, flooding in the basement. The super who once attended to the building, she got ill, so therefore there have been a new superintendent that just took over approximately a month ago. But if you walk past that street now, which is right opposite the Board of Education, the building is atrocious. So the external of the building is unkept. The internal of the building, which is most important because it's affecting all of the tenants there, are unkept. So we don't know what to do anymore. The tenants now are looking towards involving the media because we've sent several emails to the landlord, which is, I can't remember it right now. Easy Rental. I believe they changed their name recently, but that's a great concern that I think the city needs to really address, and I'm not sure the accountability part that's being held on landlords, especially ones that doesn't care, clearly, because they have enough evidence of mold, pictures, videos, et cetera, from the tenants, including myself, when I was called over there to look into the matter and bring it to your all attention. And lastly, this is just a major concern, I would say, overall, with all of the new developments that's coming into Orange. My concern is the quality of life for kids and senior citizens. And where is that on all of the development that's going on? What are set aside for the children? What is set aside for the seniors? And lastly, the water bill, it's up. And hopefully I can get a next answer in my next visit.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
ma'am.
That's it.
May I have a motion to,
Motion to close citizens' comments.
Second, Coley.
motion to close citizen comments was made by Councilwoman Summers Johnson, second by Councilman Coley. All those in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion adopted. Council comments?
Councilman Coley.
First, I just want to wish everyone a happy New Year. Glad to see everyone in this New Year 2026. And I see that we have this this update of a few developments that's going on, but ones that are missing is the Y and the hospital. If we can just quickly just give us a little update on those two, I appreciate it.
So the recreation project, why, it's planned that on January 20th, the redevelopment agreement will be put before the council for
Okay.
that project. With regard to the hospital site, we're still reviewing and negotiating back and forth regarding the financial application that was submitted by the developer. He's also pursuing with us, a brownfields grant, and is preparing what's called an Aspire application for funding through the Economic Development Authority. So the project's moving along. There are a lot of pieces, but we're making progress. We should have some resolution with respect to the negotiations of the financial agreement by the end of the first quarter.
Okay, thank you. And the an update with the parking meters on the lower end of Main Street.
That's one of the walk-on resolutions.
Okay.
Is the $98,000 for the parking meters from Canfield to the
Okay.
East Orange
All right, so we
border.
can take care of that. Okay,
and
very, very
Glenwood.
good. And I seen this over the last couple of days, and when I was in MMT Bank on Henry Street today, taking care of some business, person just said, hey, which I seen it. It's right there on Mechanic and South Day Street. It looked like someone. I didn't get a chance to call Marty Ray. I apologize for that. It looked like someone just dumped out a truck full of like furniture. It's been up for a few days. I seen it a few days ago, but I didn't pay any mind until someone brought it to my attention again today in the bank.
All right, I'll take care of it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Coley. Councilwoman Hilbert.
All right, good evening, everyone. I hope everyone had an amazing holiday. If you didn't party, I hope you at least got rest. So Happy New Year's. I'm glad to be here for another year, and I'm thankful for God for the opportunity and the life that He has granted me. Let's see, West Ward, I did speak with the business administrator prior to today's meeting in regards to the light that is out on Henry Street and South Essex Avenue. So I did put out a notice on social media with the information that I received from the BA. So thank you again, BA Hartwig, for looking into that and making sure that we had this resolution on the agenda tonight to appropriate the funds to get that resolved for the community. So I just want the residents to know that their calls and their emails have been answered and we are working on it. Another concern that we have in the area for West Ward is that we were also waiting for some new traffic signs along the the pedestrian areas for the students over by Lincoln Avenue Elementary School. So I have been reassured by Director Mays that that is also coming very soon this month. So I'll be very ecstatic when we have these additional safety measures in the West Ward. I had a few concerns about what was on the agenda, but I already asked them previously, so I'm not going to mention anything here. But I do want to say thank you to the residents who did came to ask questions. I'm also interested in know more about 433 Lincoln. So if the couple is still here, I would like to talk to them more about that and how we can work with code enforcement to get someone in there, and Vinny from the health department as well, to get somebody to take a look at that. Maybe there's a trend, maybe something is happening, maybe something is missing, but mold is serious. A lot of people don't realize how serious it can mess with your nervous system. And it can cause very, very drastic and severe and chronic ailments that you cannot reverse. So I am interested in working with you all and learning more on how we could also advocate and get some action taking place at that site. I do believe 433 used to be owned by J&S Management, but again, we could speak about that later. The West Ward will be having a meeting on January 21st. We'll have our meeting here in the council chambers. So the meeting will be at 7 p.m. and we will have an additional flyer going out to the community just to remind everybody that that will be our first meeting of the year. Also, don't worry about it. Also, there was an email that I received, something about some tax sales or the tax bill. I'm gonna have to bring that up later. But in closing, I don't want to confuse anybody. I'm just trying to go through all the emails. That's what I did during my break. I don't know about anybody else, but I was trying to go through all the emails just to make sure that we were answering all the questions when we got here tonight. But other than that, hopefully this year for the West Ward, we could see more repavement in our area. Like I said, the additional safety measures. And like I said, I'm always thankful for when the residents come out and show out and speak. So I hope to see you guys at more meetings moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilwoman Summers Johnson.
Good evening. First and foremost, my heart goes out to the family of Councilwoman Eason. And I just want to make it clear about the street paving. Everything I do is a result of something that messed up. I remember going door to door and telling residents, we're going to do your street with the dates, and then the street wasn't done. So to not look like a liar, I try to wait until I get a letter, and the letter says, you're not going to be able to park on your street on these days, and then I know that the street is going to be done. It's happened to me twice. Twice is too many times. I definitely went door to door with the initial information about Haywood being paved. I live right there, so I definitely need it to be paved. So I will be staying on BA Chris, calling him on Sundays, right?
Yes. All right. So we'll definitely stay on that. Definitely interested in 433, because normally when we have an issue with a building, I know in the past we usually show up like a task force with everyone at one time. A lot of times there's a lot of turnover, and it's very hard to find who really owns the building. I know that's been something we were dealing with in the South Ward, but I definitely will get involved with that. And I just have an idea. I don't know if this has been mentioned, but I know we have the Orange Park Community Center. Is there any ideas of having like a hybrid senior adult office there that maybe we could get some, I don't want to say volunteers, but I know we have Seton Hall, you know, we have universities where they could do some volunteer, because I know we don't have any employees in that department. And for me, I have a senior in my house, and I think I'm the only one, well, no, I have a senior, and then I have kids under the age of 18. So I was trying to see, a lot of times I drive past and they're not using it as much yet, because I know that the applications go out to rent it, but I just want to know, is there any talk about trying to like bring maybe a recreation office or a senior adult office over there, and then filling it with either volunteer employees, students that have to do community service or something like that?
I can sit down with you and discuss that before I talk to the county,
Okay.
but it would have to involve a discussion with the county.
Okay, thank you for that. And just reminiscing about, I call it Old Orange. There was a time when we had so many baseball teams, we didn't even play other towns. We only played Orange. I remember 6 to 9 program where hundreds of kids would be in Orange Middle School. 2 years ago, last year, my son was playing on a traveling basketball team, and then when school was out, we had like a designated park open. I believe it was Central. Mr. Nora was there for Safe Haven. So I'm just hoping that we can start to bring some of those things back, because they're so needed. I know where my kids were for break, but I know we have kids that literally need to be in school, because without school, they may not eat and they're not socializing and things like that. So those things I really need to come back. And with senior adults, I remember my mother and father went to Canada on a bus. Like, they had a lot of programs. So I'm just hoping that we can partner with the county, because I know we did have to make cuts, but I'm just hoping, because those two groups are in my house. And last but not least, thank you so much for closing Claremont Terrace. When I drove past there today, I was like, I didn't want to get in an accident, but I wanted to stop and take a picture. But thank you, because when we legislate and then there's a time period to where we take action, we just want to make sure. Next on your radar is Nassau. I walked over the weekend letting the residents know that permit parking was coming. So I just want to have the city on the radar when they're coming to do their applications. With that being said, thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilwoman Summers Johnson. Just want to say Happy New Year to everyone out there. And I pray and I thank God for each and every one of you showing up tonight and waking up this morning. I want to start off with a resident came up and said that the council didn't want the street paved. I think that's what your comment was, right? But once I listened to you speak, I think it was the bidding process. So it wasn't the council at all. So I just want to clarify that. So if any one of you gentlemen want to just explain what the bidding process is before the legislation actually comes to the council, before we can vote on it. And this would be pertaining to any thing that we have to vote on that goes out for bid. I just want you to clarify that for me. Thank you.
Sure, Council President. So the bidding process primarily involves just the method of for organizations to request proposals for various goods and services. This ensures a competitive and fair competition process where, again, we're soliciting proposals for various services. So Usually that's advertised. Proposals are advertised, they're received, they're reviewed based upon certain criteria, whether it's price, quality, expertise, experience, et cetera, and the best options are chosen. The best options are chosen, again, based upon the criteria that is used for the examination. And once the best option is selected, that then goes before the council for approval. That's generally how it works.
So we, as a council, Mr. BA, we haven't received that Haywood Avenue, right? I just want to clarify that, because I got a text message saying, like, why are y'all voting it down? We haven't received that to vote on it at all.
No, not before tonight.
Okay.
The Department of Public Works and the administration is making a recommendation in that resolution that we reject the bids.
Right.
Which we have to do within a certain period of time in order to go back and amend the bid specifications.
Okay, all right. You
Coun-
okay with that, Mr.
Council
Engel?
President, if I may, I just want to
Yes,
mention
Mr. CFO.
I just want to mention the balances. So Mr. Engel mentioned the resolution shows that the lowest bidder was $599,000, and as B.A. Hartwike said, the soft costs or the engineering costs took up some of that balance. So we appropriated about $50,000. So now the balance in that grant is only $564,000. So there is less money in the grant than for the construction of Haywood Avenue.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Engel, you good? I just want to explain that, especially since I received some text messages. I was like, let me ask these gentlemen while I'm here. So, you know, we receive a lot of emails, and sometimes people aren't happy about our robocalls. So we got an email, all the council members got it. It was about people who wanted to be taken off the robocalls, and we're gonna take that young lady off, but just wanna let you know, like, when we take you off, you won't receive the calls, and then therefore you won't get the information out from the city again. But also let you know that if you do want to receive the robocalls, you can contact the city, give them your telephone number, and you will receive all of the robocalls. I want to say a special thank you to the police department and the fire department tonight, because as you know, today is Three Kings Day in the Spanish community. I was at a program earlier that was run by Mano, and I probably screwed that up, but Christine Mateo knows who it is. They're donated, hundreds of toys to those young kids. They came in. We had the dessert, and when you cut this dessert, and I'm not gonna butcher the name of it either, when you cut the dessert, baby Jesus is in the dessert somewhere. So if you cut it and you get baby Jesus, you have to provide tamales for the people. So I was the first person to cut it, and guess who I pulled out of the box? Baby Jesus. So I don't know if that was a setup or what it is, but I have to, and I was told I have to take care of him from now until I think February 2nd. I don't know if that's the correct date. If somebody out there knows the correct date, let me know the correct date. He's in my coat pocket. I'm sorry. So I'm asking if we can have tamales on February the 2nd. I'm gonna reach out to Christina Mateo and see if we can have some in the city council chambers since I pulled baby Jesus out. Want to let you know that I'm having a community meeting for the citywide. I'm an at-large council person. It is going to be October the 28th. It's gonna be 5 p.m. to 6. January.
I was about to say.
Thinking about my birthday. It's gonna be January the 28th. Flyers are gonna be going out. It's gonna be held in the city council chambers. It's gonna be from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Each and every department will be represented. Right, Mr. BA? Yep. So you can come out and get your questions answered, or you can come out and meet the directors or the people who work in those departments. Also wanna let you know, doing a youth town hall for the youth, and that's gonna happen in the city council chambers also. It's gonna be on Sunday, January the 18th. It's gonna be after church. My flyer says from 10 to 12, but it's gonna be after church. Cause some of us go to church, and I don't want anybody to miss church. I'm excited about this because the youth are excited about this. I've had several conversations with some young people regarding what's going on with healthcare, what's going on with housing, what's going on with a myriad of things. So I want to bring the youth into City Hall so they can talk to us and I can hear, you know, what they're talking about. Riding with my granddaughter and her friend, they're 20 years old. You can't imagine the conversation that I hear that 20-year-olds are talking about. So they see us and they listen to us, family, during this time. Thank you so much, Madam Clerk. You're gonna move the agenda.
Ordinance, second reading. Ordinance 74-2025. The recommendation is to postpone this until the January 20th meeting. An ordinance of the Municipal Council of the City of Orange Township to approve a tax exemption for a tax period expiring on November the 1st, 2055, and to authorize an execution of a financial agreement between the city and Peak Lincoln Urban Renewal LLC. Can I have a motion?
Motion Coley.
This is a motion to postpone?
Yes, second, Summers Johnson.
Motion to postpone by Councilman Coley, second by Councilwoman Summers Johnson. On the motion?
On the motion, B.A. Hartwig, is there an opportunity to schedule a phone call with Peak?
Regarding what?
I want to ask more questions about this tax exemption.
Well, what questions?
Well, I want to have a conversation with you and Peak. First of all, Peak Development, this Lincoln Urban Renewal, this is my district, and they haven't spoken to me in regards to what their community benefit give back would be. And really, in my opinion, I don't feel that a building that's already existing should have an additional over 30-something years in our community. I feel that we should not be giving this amount of years. And I would like to have a conversation to see if this can be negotiated.
Well, we can have a conversation, but you can't negotiate a deal with Peak.
Okay. But then they just recently purchased this property
They're
and
purchasing it out of a bankruptcy.
out of a bankruptcy.
Correct.
Okay, so why do we, the council, have to give them a building that's already, an agreement for a building?
As I explained at the last meeting, the community benefit is the preservation of the low and moderate income housing that the building provides and has provided for the last 55 years. If the project is not purchased in this manner out of the bankruptcy court through financing with the New Jersey Housing and Mortgage Finance Agency, the property will go to market rate. So the negotiation that went back and forth and involved the administration, Peak, the current owners who are in receivership, involved trying to preserve the property for low and moderate income housing. In order for that to happen, the pilot had to be extended because it's low and moderate income housing. All of the low and moderate income housing buildings in the city have pilots. And all of them have pilots that last at least as long as the income restrictions that are imposed by the lenders, which are federal or state agencies. So the alternative was lose the low and moderate income project over a period of years, and the administration felt that was unacceptable.
So extending it to 2055, that's ensuring that these four buildings, because it's like a cluster of buildings, are going to remain affordable.
They have to.
Okay, because when we look at the recent development that has been done by Peak, all of it hasn't been, it hasn't been under $2,000 for the people that live in that area.
Those are very different projects than this, and Peak also has a low and moderate income portfolio in East Orange, Bergen County, and now Orange.
I understand, but I'm more concerned with Orange. And so my thing is, if we continue to allow some of the owners to have a majority ownership in our community where we're still losing homeowners and we're gaining more renters, And we're not adding to the affordable. We're not adding to the affordable portion right now.
No, you're preserving what already exists in the face of potentially losing it.
So who's to say, because these buildings actually have a lot of issues in them. So if us saying yes to this, what action plan do we have to ensure that it remains affordable while they're still doing the repairs and renovations in these buildings?
So we don't need an action plan because the financing for the project is from a state agency, and with it comes deed restrictions with respect to the income and rents that can be charged at the buildings.
Okay, so this is my final question. Because think about what we just heard about 433 Lincoln, right? And we're talking about code enforcement. Since I've been elected, no, before I even ran for office, because I live behind these buildings, right? They always had violations. They always had calls. So I do believe that it's in our best interest to work with them and whatever state agency to ensure that there is something being done in regards to the code enforcement to make sure that renovations are being done, inspections are being held, because I'm not just giving away tax abatements and pilots to people anymore and they can't even manage your properties, because people deserve, a good quality of life.
So the long-term plan for the building is to refinance the building within the next 24 months using 9% LIHTC tax credits. And with that refinancing would come a $3 to $5 million renovation for the two buildings. In order to get to that point, they first have to get the building out of bankruptcy or out of foreclosure and get the receiver out of the way so that they can operate the building as a low and moderate income building and refinance it through both HUD and the New Jersey Housing and Mortgage Finance Agency using long-term tax credits.
Okay, thank you, PA Chris. Council President, you can move on. Or
Anyone else on the motion?
Anyone else have a question?
Okay, roll call. Councilman Coley,
This is to.
postpone.
Postpone.
Yes.
Councilwoman Easton is absent. Councilwoman Hilbert.
yes to postpone.
Councilman Montague III is absent. Councilman Ross is absent. Councilwoman Summers Johnson.
Yes.
Council President Wooten.
Yes.
That's 4 yeas. This has been postponed until the January 20th meeting. There were no ordinances on first reading. Consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered in its normal sequence of the agenda. Are there any items that council members would like to remove from the consent agenda? Okay, remember that Resolution 3 and 9 have been amended, and the CFO has added those amendments on the record. The consent agenda consists of everything. So you don't want me to read it, understood. 1 through 28, 2026. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
Motion Coley.
Second, Summers Johnson.
Motion by Councilman Coley, second by Councilwoman Summers Johnson on the motion. Roll call, Councilman Coley.
Yes.
Councilwoman Easton is absent. Councilwoman Hilbert.
Yes.
Councilman Montague III is absent. Councilman Ross is absent. Councilwoman Summers Johnson.
Yes.
And Council President Wooten.
Yes.
The consent agenda is approved. New business. I have read the walk-on resolutions for this evening. Resolutions 29 through 34. Can I have a motion to walk these resolutions onto the agenda?
Motion to walk on, Summers Johnson.
Second Coley.
Motion to walk on resolutions 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, and 34 2026 walk on was made by Councilwoman Summers Johnson, second by Councilman Coley. On the motion, roll call. Councilman Coley.
Yes.
Councilwoman Easton is absent. Councilwoman Hilbert.
Yes.
Councilman Montague III is absent. Councilman Ross is absent. Councilwoman Summers Johnson.
Yes.
Council President Wooten.
Yes.
That's 4 yeas, motion adopted. These have all been walked on. Resolution 29-2026 walk on, a resolution honoring the life and legacy and contributions of Grace Edith Wright, sponsored by Councilman Ross and the City of Orange Township, Orange Municipal Council. Is there a motion?
Move, Wooten.
Second, Summers Johnson.
Motion by Council President Wooten, second by Councilwoman Summers Johnson. On the motion, roll call. Councilman Coley.
Yes.
Councilwoman Hilbert.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Councilwoman Easton is absent. Councilwoman Hilbert.
Yes.
Councilman Montague III is absent. Councilman Ross is absent. Councilwoman Summers Johnson.
Yes.
Council President Wooten.
Yes.
That's 4 yeas. This has been adopted. Resolution 31-2026 WO, a resolution declaring an emergency and ratifying a contract for traffic signal maintenance and repairs between the City of Orange Township and Gen Electric Incorporated, 631 Mars Avenue, Springfield, New Jersey, 07081, in an amount not to exceed $34,003.99. Is there a motion?
Motion Coley.
Second, Hilbert.
On the motion, roll call. Councilman Coley.
Yes.
Councilwoman Easton is absent. Councilwoman Hilbert.
Yes.
Councilman Montague III is absent. Councilman Ross is absent. Councilwoman Summers Johnson.
Yes.
Council President Wooten.
Yes.
That's 4 yeas, 3 absences. This has been adopted. We need to go back to Resolution 30-2026 WO, a resolution for the transfer of appropriation of reserves. The recommendation is to postpone this until the next meeting. Is there a motion?
Motion Coley.
Second, Summers Johnson.
On the motion, roll call. Councilman Coley.
Yes.
Councilwoman Easton is absent. Councilwoman Hilbert.
Yes.
Councilman Montague III is absent. Councilman Ross is absent. Councilwoman Summers Johnson.
Yes.
And Council President Wooten.
Yes.
That's 4 yeas, 3 absences. This is postponed until the next meeting. Resolution 32-2026, a resolution ratifying and authorizing the award of contract to IPS Group Incorporated, 7737 Kennemore Court, San Diego, California, 92121, to purchase parking meters, parts, materials, and supplies, the Omnia Partners and Cooperative, in an amount not to exceed $98,338. Is there a motion?
Motion Coley.
Second, Wooten.
Motion by Councilman Coley, second by Council President Wooten. On the motion, roll call. Councilman Coley.
Yes.
Councilwoman Easton is absent. Councilwoman Hilbert.
Yes.
Councilman Montague III is absent. Councilman Ross is absent. Councilwoman Summers Johnson.
Yes.
Council President Wooten.
Yes.
That's 4 yeas. This has been adopted. Resolution 33-2026 DWO, a resolution authorizing a non-fair and open professional services agreement with CP Professional Services to provide engineering services to the City of Orange Township Planning Board and Zoning Board of Adjustment for a period beginning January 1st, 2026 and continuing through December 31st, 2026, with all fees paid exclusively through escrow funds. Is there a motion?
Motion Coley.
Second, Summers Johnson.
Motion by Councilman Coley, second by Councilwoman Summers Johnson. On the motion, roll call. Councilman Coley.
Yes.
Councilwoman Easton is absent. Councilwoman Hilbert.
Yes.
Councilman Montague III is absent. Councilman Ross is absent. Councilwoman Summers Johnson.
Yes.
Council President Wooten.
Yes.
That's 4 yeas. This has been adopted. Resolution 34-2026 WO, a resolution amending Resolution 113-2025, authorizing a non-fair and open professional services agreement with Friend and Wenzel LLC to provide legal services to the City of Orange Township Planning Board for a period beginning January 1, 2025, and continuing through December 31st, 2025, in an amount not to exceed $7,500, with additional fees paid separately from escrow accounts that will be solely funded by developers pertaining to their specific projects, to include a certification of availability of funds by the City of Orange Township Chief Financial Officer. Is there a motion?
Motion Coley.
Second, Wooten.
Motion by Councilman Coley, second by Council President Wooten. On the motion, roll call. Councilman Coley?
Yes.
Councilwoman Easton is absent. Councilwoman Hilbert?
Yes.
Councilman Montague III is absent. Councilman Ross is absent. Councilwoman Summers Johnson?
Yes.
Council President Wooten?
Yes.
That's 4 years. This has been adopted. Is there any old business? No postponed or ordinance or resolutions. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, Summers Johnson.
Second Coley.
Motion to adjourn by Councilwoman Summers Johnson, second by Councilman Coley. On that motion, any opposition? Motion adopted. Meeting adjourned at 8:19 p.m. The next scheduled municipal council conference meeting and regular meeting will be held on Tuesday, January 20th, 2026, 7 p.m. at City Hall, 29 North Day Street, Orange, New Jersey, in the City Council chambers. Have a wonderful evening.
Amen.
Should I read this? Oh. You want to sign?
Yeah.